Do you want a high fashion fix without having to spend a fortune? Cool, I got you, girl. Let's hack the runway. If you're new here, my name is Faye and we talk all things thrift, vintage, sustainable style, and what I like to call opshopulence. We take secondhand, we reinvent it, and we turn it into first class chic. Okay, let's hack the runway. Inspired by Vogue, here's 5 tips to get you a super luxe look for less. And the added bonus, you are not going to look like anyone else. Okay, my first tip has 2 points to it, if that makes sense. So first of all, the thing that I do to hack the runways is to look at the runway shows and really break down what I see. And then I think about how could I go straight to the source. For example, one of the most recent Celine shows that I was absolutely obsessed with, still am. It's what got me into stacking my rings. I'm not fully stacked today, but it really got my brain ticking. And the source that I went to for that was literally my wardrobe, and I just went through all of the rings that I had and I stacked them up. The other thing that I noticed in that show was boxing boots. So they weren't boxing boots per se, they were Celine style boxing boots. But if you want to get that look for less, go to a sports store and get some boxing boots. Get some cool Adidas, look on eBay, look for vintage. I'm still on the hunt for the perfect pair, but I'm noticing that boxing is really making a bit of an imprint in fashion. I've seen quite a few brands adding boxing boots to their collection, and I was reading in Vogue the other day that it could be the next big thing in fashion. So there you go. My point is, when you look at these runway shows, break down the looks and then think about where could I get that vibe authentically. Chances are it's going to be cheaper. Another example is the Western look. We saw that a lot in the shows spring, summer 2026. There was still a definite Western feel, and Schiaparelli had such an element of that with their belts, with the styling, with the boots. You could literally go to a Western store and get some great cowboy boots. You could get some great Western belts and layer them up to get that feel. You could get yourself a bolo tie, cowboy shirts. You know, you could get that from a Western store for sure, but you could also look at vintage stores. In Sydney, we have a great store called Route 66, and they have a lot of fantastic vintage cowboy boots. They have great belts, bolo ties, they have the classic cowboy shirts. Think about what you're seeing in these shows and then have a really good muse on what's the authentic original source and go hunting. Okay, tip number 2 on how you can hack the runway is to dive into designer archives. We're seeing designers do this a lot themselves lately. They're referencing their own archives and sending that down the runway. Prior to spring 2025, they referenced a lot of their shoes from the past, and then the latest Versace collection with the new creative director, Dario Vitale, referenced a lot of Gianni Versace's wardrobe and his aesthetic from the 80s and 90s. So we saw a lot of colored jeans. And when I was reading this concept in Vogue, the Hack the Runway, the writer was saying that she went onto eBay and she searched for Versace colored jeans from the 80s and 90s and she found a pair for $40. So there you go. eBay is a great source. Have a look on Depop, Poshmark, Vestiaire. There's so many online portals that will have archival pieces, vintage, different eras from high-end designers that chances are you could score for a whole lot less. Or A similar concept could be found in a thrift store. And the cool thing about that is if you're keeping an eye on the shows and you're watching what's happening and you're reading Vogue Runway and you're subscribed to the Vogue newsletter, which I am, it gives you that intel really quickly. So chances are the masses haven't cottoned onto it yet. So you're going to find those vintage and archival pieces before they become hot property. Or, as I say, you can create a similar aesthetic with pieces that you can find in a thrift store. So it might not be the brand, but it will definitely give you that DNA, as I like to call it. So again, we're really looking at the shows, we're breaking it down, we're observing, and then we're able to emulate the DNA and hack the aesthetic. My third point for hacking the runway is to create mood boards and musings and inspiration and then hit the thrift store. For me, when I'm looking at these shows, I'm like, okay, what am I seeing here? All right, they're layering up belts. What do I have in my wardrobe? Or adding that to my thrifting list for the next time I hit my local op shop. And so all of this is kind of in my mind, and I've got Pinterest boards, I've got lists on my phone so that I can reference. And if it is something that I want to emulate, then it can help me to find that designer look for less. And the more that I'm studying and I'm looking at these shows, the more it just kind of gets in by osmosis. And so when you are thrifting, your brain is attuned, your eye is attuned, you remember the things that you've seen, and then it's like you can kind of filter through all of the other stuff and zone in on what you're looking for. The more that you do this, I find the luckier I get and the quicker I become at creating the DNA of different brands or different runway shows that I've seen. It really allows me to hack the runway and to get that look for a whole lot less. So mood boards are fantastic, and it's also a really inspiring way to help you think about what you've got in your wardrobe that you could reimagine to emulate what you're seeing on the runway. It helps you to slow down and stop before you shop too. Look at what you've got first, and then with those mood boards, have a play in your wardrobe and for what's missing and for what you'd really like to recreate from the runway. Hit the thrift, sis, because you will be so surprised what you can find. My video before this one, I went to Melbourne and I recreated 4 looks inspired by different high-end designers. So I did Chanel, I did Ralph Lauren, I did Versace, and then I did a Vetements / street style vibe. And I didn't go there thinking that I was going to create those brands, but when I was in the store, I saw things that I had seen on the runway, and amongst these high-end brands, I knew the aesthetic. So it really allowed me to hack what I had seen on the runway and hack the DNA of these designers. And then my last point on how you can hack the runway is to get crafty. DIY. When you've got some things in your wardrobe that maybe you're not wearing, or you're looking for something in the thrift store that might be inspired by a designer from one of your mood boards, have a think about how you could tweak it to give it that runway look. Let's talk about the latest Chanel show. With Matthew Blazy as the new creative director, everybody was talking about this show, and the first look that went down the runway was a very simple cropped suit jacket and pants. This is something so simple to do. You might have a blazer in your closet you're not wearing, or honestly, go to the thrift store, look in the men's section, find a 100% wool blazer. I have found so many over the years for such a good price, and slice and dice I quite often will just leave it with a raw hem. I think that looks really cool. But of course, you can stitch the bottom, or you can have it done by a dressmaker if you don't know how to use a sewing machine yet, like yours truly. Such a simple DIY. The other thing that you can do, a big trend at the moment, is fringing. You could find some really great fringing from a craft store, and you could add that to the bottom of a skirt. You could add it to a bag. You could add it to a jacket, or you can even slice a t-shirt or a cotton dress in strips to create an effect of fringing. If you want to add some embellishment to a jacket, or if you want to switch out how the buttons look, cover them with brooches, or just simply switch out the buttons of a boring jacket, from plastic buttons to really great gold, brass, military buttons. These are all really simple things that you can do. And again, when you look at the runway shows, have a look at the details of what the models are wearing in terms of accessories, and then think about what you could do. Brooches are so fantastic, playing with ribbon, adding a really great statement earring, layering your belts, using lingerie, corsets. Another big trend is adding lace to things. I'm seeing slip dresses with lace inserts, especially white with contrasting black looks beautiful. So think about how you could add some lace elements to things. There are so many possibilities with DIY. You don't have to be a full couture seamstress. There's lots of simple no-sew things that you can do. Just literally jump on YouTube, which is such a search engine for me, and look for no-sew DIY, runway inspired DIYs. Have a think about all the things that you could play around with that you've already got in your closet, or that you could get from a thrift store to emulate what you're seeing on the runways. I think it's really about being an interested and informed fashion citizen. So for me, I love to see what's happening, and it's not really about being a slave to the trends. I take them more as inspiration for my personal style. Taking things that I like and then making it my own. And that for me is what makes such a cool, one-of-a-kind look. I will forever be hacking the runway because I think it's just such a fun way to look at fashion. Take what you love and do it your way. But sometimes, if you're really lucky, you will be blessed with an authentic designer piece. Exhibit A. Vintage Jean Paul Gaultier. This has been on my thrift wish list for such a long time. You won't believe how it turned up. I certainly didn't. I didn't thrift it. One of my beautiful customers from my store, OPSHOPULENCE.com, sent me this. She found it in a little local church op shop in Perth, where she's from, and she thought of me to send it to. I mean, knowing what I know about fashion, and I love Jean Paul Gaultier so much, that's why I've styled myself like this today, to really honor that 90s JPG vibe. Big choker piece, the cross pearl pendant, the stacked bangles, it's very JPG. And then I've actually really contrasted it with my husband's shorts and just simple sandals, because we're coming into the warmer months here in Australia. But you could totally wear this underneath a great pinstripe suit. You could add a long skirt and boots. This top, I love it so much. Tracy, you are such an angel. You have definitely allowed me to hack the runway with an authentic piece, and then to add some elements that I've thrifted to give it that one-of-a-kind JPG cool. Thank you for making my day, Tracy. I absolutely love this top so much. It's my first JPG piece. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope it inspired you to think about how you can hack the runway, save a stack of cash, do it sustainably. You won't look like anyone else. You'll be giving it OPSHOPULENCE one-of-a-kind cool. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you really soon for for the next one. Oh, and PS, if you'd like to, you can check out my store, OPSHOPULENCE.com. I sell pre-loved and vintage one-of-a-kind accessories that you won't find anywhere else. You can also grab a copy of my book there by the same name, with lots of tips in there on how you can hack the runway and create super elevated, sustainable style. Bye.